Not sure when this thing goes live. I give it like 10, 15 seconds, but I just never know. And I don't want to get cut off. All right, live every weekday, 5 days a week. Today is Wednesday or Tuesday. It's one of those days. And I just wanted to check in. Last week, my family got devastating news. So the class war live stream, the struggle live stream, hasn't been too news centric. Not too much of the entertainment news side of the live stream. Uh, I've been using more. I've been using this live stream more of a vlog, place to vent. If you're new, I'm praying that this live stream will change and morph again. But for right now, I'm struggling to hold on. So I'm just kind of opening up personally here. And the community, the family has been amazing. So if you are a new subscriber, I thank you so much because you've been a silver lining for me the past week. The Silver Lining Playbook with Sandra Bullock. No, that was Blindside. Silver Lining Playbook was the Bradley Cooper with the what's her name? Hunger Games. Broad. I forget her name. Great actress. She was in Don't Look Up. Anyways, if you know it, leave it in the comments. So please, if you want to join the family, build this community, stand in solidarity, I encourage you. And all you got to do is hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell because it is 8:30 right now. And I can't I can't give you my word on what time I'll go live. I can only give you my word that 5 days a week, every weekday, sometimes on the weekends. So if you could hit that notification bell, you'll be alerted and you can join me. We can have a conversation. That piece of whatever is bugging me. Again, I'm Rob. Welcome to the Class War of the Struggle. Uh, it's been a tough week. And today, it was just a mixed day. It was a weird day because my family's in a desperate situation. So every day I've been trying to get right out of work and go do stuff to help. And today I went and looked at a place and it was just out of our price. The housing market's crazy right now. And I was really, really distraught. And I called my wife and I was like, if I just had like a solid paying job, we would be in a different situation. And I carried this immense guilt as a dad, as a husband. Uh, Once I lost my career in 2017 and radio really hasn't recovered or been the same, even though I'm a highly skilled professional of 20 years experience, uh, the radio industry has just been decimated. And that's what sucks because the radio industry can make a lot of money. It has the potential to. It's still there. Radio is still a vital media outlet in our communities. It's got to be local and it's got to be live. And that's what they've taken away from it. So anyway, so I call my wife and I'm just venting like, if I had a job, we wouldn't be in this situation, just carrying a lot of guilt. And, essentially what I want to say is, I'm sorry. I want to say it to my kids. I want to say it to my wife. Like, I am so sorry that the job I work at now, Starbucks, by the way, I get $5 an hour after they take out healthcare and taxes. I essentially work at this job just to have healthcare, a healthcare I can't even afford because I can't afford the copays because they're $30, and I can't afford food if I'm going to do a copay. So I had to stop seeing my doctor. So that's the trap of poverty that they talk about. And today at work too, I haven't talked to anybody about what I'm going through at work, but it's just hard to function. When people keep asking you, hey, how you doing today? You just want to, your like brain is trying not to snap, when your family's going through a devastating, traumatic crisis. It's so hard to be at work. But at one point, I was talking to this shift this manager who I really like, and I said, you know what the crazy part about this is? We organized at my shop. We unionized. We did something historic. The Starbucks Union, Workers United, brought the biggest global coffee corporation in the history of the world. No coffee corporation has been any wealthier. We brought them to the table. They're coming to the table in April to bargain. They've never done that before. And we did it. All of the people who organized. So salute to you. I'm proud to be a part of it. I'm humbled to be a small part. But what we're fighting for, and that's the amazing thing. And I know there's a lot of people out there that say, if you want more pay, go get a better job, get an education, whatever the rantings and rumblings. It's a teenage job. Really? Does Starbucks close during school hours? Get the out of here. But these people that we create the wealth for, because if we all stop working, they don't make any money. None of them. None of them. And I said, these people we create the wealth for. The CEO, Laxman of Starbucks, the new CEO, he came from Pepsi, no coffee experience. They gave him a $8 million sign-on bonus just for signing his name, taking the job. These people that we create their wealth without us on the front lines working to make the wealth that they siphon out of our communities, these people will never, never have to know the pain of watching their kid go hungry, the pit, the erosion of your soul when your children, you watch them so stressed they can't sleep because your family goes through a crisis. Kevin Hawthorne, what is up? Lakeland, Florida. Love you stopping by. Appreciate it. But these people that we, the workers, create the wealth for. I was telling this to my manager, just trying to get through the day because I have to be there. I have to go to work because I need healthcare. I'm trapped. They don't pay me enough to utilize that health insurance. I'm sorry, I shouldn't say healthcare because it's not caring at all. But these people, like my wife's a nurse. She's been at this place for 7 years. She's one of the most veteran, best nurses there are. And she can't afford, I mean, she's skilled, degree, all that stuff. She doesn't make enough to afford to live. And what I'm telling you is that's the truth because we're looking at the market. We've lost our home. My wife, who's a nurse, skilled nurse. So it's not just for Starbucks workers, but what I was saying to my other coworker was all we're fighting for, the only thing we're fighting for is to have a roof over our head and food, and maybe heat, but that's crazy to ask for. And people are so divided over that. People within that I work with don't think people that work there should make enough to live. And I've asked them, I said, do you think someone working 40 hours a week shouldn't be able to afford to live? Should have to move home with their parents if they have them? I don't have parents. This kid does. Of course he thinks that. It's nice when you have when you're afforded those luxuries. I want people to really consider that. When we organize, when we unionize, when whoever you are, even when I was making 6 figures, I still felt people were underpaid. And I mean, you could just look at the statistics. Some Massachusetts study came out again today. It said you need to make $41 and something cents to be able to afford to live in Massachusetts. The minimum wage in Massachusetts is $15. And when people say, oh, just work a couple jobs, I want people to remember, if you have 2 jobs, you can't work them at the same time. You're not making more money. You're just working longer hours. It's amazing the common sense sometimes people just overlook. I don't think they're lacking it. Or maybe they are. Or just they're ignorant to it. But the pay needs to go up. And for the people who go, well, I got a degree, I'm a skilled worker. Yeah, you're underpaid too. Why do you think these massive auto workers unions and these trade unions are renegotiating huge contracts, 40% raises, etc., etc.? Because they understand they're underpaid. We need to stop being divided and start understanding, like, when you're asking the biggest coffee corporation in the history of the world doesn't make any more money. No other coffee corporation has made any more money. When you're asking them, like, hey, we need more money so we can live, so we can have a house to live in, so we can eat food. And they have such decadence. Listen to Hunger Strike. like Temple of the Dog. They have such decadence that their grandkids will never know what it's like to go hungry. Their great grandkids will never have to worry about rent or a home. And people in our community fight against us. We're divided over this. It's silly. That's what it is. When you defend someone who will never have money worries, they just won't. They get an $8 million bonus just to take the job. And the people who are creating that $8 million bonus, people who are serving the people, making that, laboring for that, they can't afford rent. They can't afford food. And I was trying to point that out to my coworker because when you really think about it, it's kind of disgusting. It's wild. I'll be out in a minute, buddy. Okay. I heard you. And it's tough on kids, man. That's the one thing I don't understand. How can anybody be like, nah, kids, if you got kids, blame it on the parents. We're both, me and my wife, work. My wife did everything everyone said. People applauded for my wife when she was saving lives during the pandemic. And now when it comes time to be like, she just needs to be paid a decent wage to be able to afford to live, people are divided over that. It's wild. And I think about that a lot. Irregardless of my situation, I think about how that's affecting the world. And it's so funny because I see people do it and think it's some kind of political divide. It's not. It's the wealthy being greedy, and that's it. I want to read something for you. I want to tell you about my day because it was a weird day, man. Just trying to survive to get through. And then I get this text from, I'd consider him a friend. I've known him for 21 years. He's helped me in the radio business. He was the first one to hire me, like my first real paying job in radio at a rock station in Boston. And then when I came back to Boston, he also helped me get the job. And I always say this guy's my guardian angel. This guy has helped me so much in radio without, and who would probably never even take credit for it. That's the kind of dude this is. Solid human. And he texted me today. So all of a sudden I'm leaving this thing that I'm trying to help my family out with, and I'm just got a pit in my stomach, feeling horrible. And then I get this text when I get home, and like hope starts to exist in you again, and it's so dangerous. So dangerous. But it was just good to have a different feeling other than despair, right? When your family, when you're watching your kids, when your wife's like, I just don't want to have anxiety and not be able to sleep. It's so difficult to hear that, especially when you're like helpless, when you don't have answers. But I got that text, right? Have a great conversation. It was good to catch up with him. I haven't talked to him in years. Amazing to just hear his voice. And it's weird to think I've known this dude for 21 years. I'm doing something, buddy. I'll be right out, okay? Oh. Sorry about that. Even when I was talking to this dude, it was interesting because I said, hey, you remember this? I was just thinking about this the other day, riding around in that rock bus and XYZ. It's just good to be able to talk to people who have, who can share your memories. My dad wrote a note for me in one of the photo albums he left me. It said, time takes all but memories. It's a hard thing to read, but it was amazing he left it for me. So that was great. Feeling good, trying to boost the kid's spirit, trying to talk to my daughter, tell her, hey, I need you to be positive. I need you to think positive. I know it's hard right now. I need you to be strong for dad. I need you to think I can get this job, that, all this stuff. And who knows, there might not even be a job there. It's just something to focus on. It's something to, God will provide, and you focus on it. So then after I get that call and the whisperings of potentially a job, which would just be amazing. So if you're the praying type, you could pray for that for me. That would mean more than anything right now. I trust God takes care of his servant. I am God's servant. Then I make dinner and I do all these things, and I just happen to jump on the internet. I hadn't really been on the internet most of the day. And I see that a local activist who, again, I would consider him a friend. We never met, only virtually. He was friends of my friends, and he was just a small time activist. And people are reporting that he passed away. And it's like a punch to the gut. But it's always like also like this weird wake up call. Like when you get news that someone has passed, you remember how fleeting life is, how incredibly fragile this thing that can create such amazing pleasure and hope and happiness. And on the flip side, it can create such turmoil, pain, and tragedy. Whatever end of the spectrum of emotions you're in, it can all be gone within a breath. And it was this weird, I just kept having these God moments today. It was weird. One thing after another. I don't know what else to describe him as. Is I've been asking God to whisper in my ear, and he does it in weird ways. You know, I get out of work. I have that very depressing meeting after work. Then I get that text and phone call from someone I've known for 21 years with some maybe hopeful news. Maybe. I don't know. Again, pray for me. And then shortly after that, I see that a friend I'd consider a virtual friend, activist, a real activist too. Like some of these people that get power and podcast or whatever, they talk a big game, but they never do it by themselves. They're usually doing it, you know, with a crowd, with people to protect them or do their dirty work for them. This guy was always solo, and I respected that. And then getting news he passed, which I still got to confirm it. I only seen it, but if it's true, man, that was a gut punch. That was tough. And right after my phone call, I want to read something for you my brother sent me, because I'm telling you, it's like God is, if you're listening, he's whispering in your ear the whole time. Because I was following up on the phone call and I was debating, like, how do I approach this? Do I just be fully myself, or do I try to go the route of like being wicked professional? And I don't know, that's boring to me. I just want to be me. And I was doubting it, and I wasn't sure. And at that moment, my brother texts me this. Well, he says, I'm checking on you, just seeing how you're doing. Progress, never perfection. I hope your day has been productive in some way, shape, or form. My brother has just been amazing. He's been my keeper, my savior, my shelter, my rock. God first, but then him. And he texted me this quote: to be nobody but yourself in a world which is doing its best day and night to make you like everybody else means to fight the hardest battle which any human being can fight and never stop fighting. E. Cummings. Think about that quote. I was debating on whether how to approach this follow-up from the call. Whether if I just be myself, which is sarcastic and, you know, just kind of off the wall, or if I go the total professional route, which I've done a million times and bores me, and I'd rather just show my personality. And my brother texted me this E. Cummings quote: to be nobody but yourself in a world which is doing its best day and night to make you like everybody else means to fight the hardest battle which any human being can fight and never stop fighting. That's God whispering in my ear. He speaks in so many different ways. And today, my brother, I'm so thankful for him. There's no way to describe. It's just like my love for my kids. You cannot describe that love. I'll never forget learning about the Greek translation of the Bible, and they said there's different kinds of love. I forget, agape, and they have all these different words for love because there's different kinds of love. I thought, how lame. English just has love. And that's how I feel about like certain relationships. My brothers, my kids, my wife. Love does the description no justice because it's so much more powerful than that. It's like a bonded love. It's an understanding. But he texted me that, and I said, I'm going to call you in a few because I couldn't believe it. And I called him and I explained it. I said, how, like, there are no coincidences. How is it that in that moment that I'm trying to figure out how to proceed, he texts me, the greatest fight in a world which is always trying to make you like everybody else is to battle to be yourself. And I wrote the email like myself. If it doesn't pay off, that's okay. But what I said to him is, I'm content being myself. And if anybody can understand that, if the people that I'm connecting with or reaching out to can understand what I'm saying, my intent, my passion, my compassion, my comedy, if they can understand that, I'll take that over anybody faking it or anybody still willing but not understanding me. Some kind of understanding is the basis to a great relationship, a great whatever you want to call it. So just a weird day. Death of a virtual friend. I got to follow up on that. I think it's true because I've seen a lot of people talking about it, but there's only so much you can handle. There's really, truly only so much you can handle, and the stress and the tragedy and the devastation my family's endured, like finding out somebody died too, is like, you start to get dizzy. But in the midst of that storm of today, I still can't get over the fact that he texted me. Guy I know in 21 years, helped me get 2 jobs in radio, texted me today. Last I heard from him in November talking about this, and then nothing. I forgot about it. And I mean, I always open up way too much with people, I think. Because we got on the phone and I said, you got a quick moment for a real short, long story? Can I tell you about my predicament? And I broke it down for him real quick. But people I've known for 20 years, 21 years, I have a different relationship. Become bonded. You almost become family. And that's why I say, I hope he would consider me a friend. I know we've only had work relationships, but I consider him a friend, irregardless of what he thinks of me. I know he respects me and work acquaintance. I hope we're more than that, because that dude's amazing. So if I've ever known you that long, just know that you're gonna get the rundown real quick. I imagine other people are like that too, right? I'm not crazy. I don't know. Maybe I am. Maybe some people are like, I'd never do that. But I don't know. I love old friends. That's one of my great joys in life. It truly is. Because, I mean, I have a pit in my stomach. I'm scared of what tomorrow brings. But just thinking about old friends, that connection, those memories of time that you have, that brings me joy. That gives me hope. So if you're the praying type and you can pray for whatever God is providing for me, it's His will, not mine. Proverbs 3:5. Lean not into your own understanding. Trust God. Lean not into your own understanding. That's a difficult one to swallow. But He's carrying me right now, so this ain't me. I'm just taking the steps. Actually, I'm asking God to take the steps for me, because I'm saying I can't do it. I ain't strong enough. This is truly the amazing thing about children too, is they're so resilient, so strong. Even when they feel weak, they're very strong. I'm in awe of my kids. I really am. Because if you've ever been depressed to the point where it's paralyzing, where it's very hard to just do something, it's almost scary. You almost get this fear. That's why it's paralyzing, because you almost can't do anything. your brain is in like shutdown mode. So every day I just been, changing the cat litter today, packing the lunches, doing these appointments, talking to people is the most exhausting for me. Especially when people go, "How are you doing?" Because for me, it's so hard to lie. It's so hard to be like, "Oh, great." Usually I'm like, "I'm not well right now." But also that's me trying to be an example of it's okay to not be okay. Now obviously around the kids it's a little different because you have to show them strength. But when adults are like, "How you doing?" Like, listen, man, stuff is tough. And when you open up and share, sometimes people will reciprocate and they'll share with you, and it's amazing, amazing. That's how you build solidarity. That's how you build community. That's what I'm trying to do here too. So please hit subscribe and the notification bell. I go live 5 every weekday. Even like today, when I ain't feeling it, it's been a tough day. Death of a virtual friend. Gut punch, man. But I'm here. I gave him my word. And I'll be here tomorrow and the next day until the weekend. And I promise, there was some news I want to talk. I finally got the courage to look up some news and try to distract my mind. All I've been reading is the book of Samuel, 1 Samuel. I'm at 1 Samuel 28 or 29. I'm listening to the car. It's funny, when you're so depressed, you can't even listen to music. Like, music is like, smells funky. Like, that's how depressed I am. Like, music has a bad taste to it. You're like, oh, I can't do it. So I just listen to the Bible in the car. I might be a nut. But kids are so strong, and I'll get back to that point. Because even like I was changing the kitty litter, I'm like, God, you almost like start to space out and lose focus in the middle of something because you're so depressed, so paralyzed. You're like, oh, I just gotta rest. I'm mentally exhausted. So you're just going through the motions every moment. God, carry me through this. Give me the strength. God, please. I'm your servant. You provide. I got the faith of a mustard seed that you can get me through this. Right? Doing that the whole time. I realized, like, these kids are incredible because they're going through the motions, but they're experiencing it in such a different way, and they're so strong. And I'm just so impressed. I'm so blessed, and I'm so grateful because they don't understand. Watching that, hearing their laughter is my joy, no matter how I feel. There was some more I wanted to talk about, but my oldest just got home. She was stopping home for a little bit, and I want to go see her. It's good to have her home. The little ones needed it. So, if you could, hit the notification, hit subscribe, hit the notification. I'm live 5 days a week. Appreciate everybody who has, everybody who's joined. Salute.